Welcome, my name is Tara, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the new moon in Libra on September the 25th. Now, this is a much anticipated new moon. I'm going to dissect the energies that we are experiencing at this time leading into the new moon and what's happening after the new moon, why this is a very important new moon to work with. Now, many of you may have followed some of my other videos or know the work that I do, specifically involving the moon, the lunar cycles. And I pay close attention to this because the moon is very powerful. The moon moves energy within us on an individual standpoint, internally, and on a collective level as well, if we're working with this energy or not. A lot of us feel this energy because it's very potent, it's very powerful coming from the moon. It does tie into our creative abilities, it does tie into our emotions, our intuition, and very connected with our ability to manifest. And when you master the cycles of the moon, then your manifestation abilities can become that much stronger. That's why I focus on these videos specifically to give you information around how to use this energy to work in your favor for manifestation and for transformation. Now, this specific new moon is following after the full moon in Pisces that we just had about a week ago from when I'm recording this video. Things are going to start to slow down, but it also is because of retrograde season. Now, if you want to call it retrograde season, we have a lot of planets in retrograde right now, and specifically the one that really impacts the majority of us is the Mercury in retrograde, which is in Libra currently as I'm recording this video. So expect things to just move slow leading into this new moon. But this new moon is very, very important because as soon as we move out of this new moon, things are going to start to open up again. We're going to have planets go back into direct, and we also are going to move into the full moon in Aries next, and 2 weeks after the new moon in Libra. So the new moon in Libra comes in during Libra season, which is the fall equinox. And that is also a very important time of the year because it is all around transitions. It's when the light and dark are equal, but we're starting to move into the darkness in the northern hemisphere. So we're starting to prepare to go into the underworld. When Libra is introduced into the zodiac calendar, a lot of us look to Libra as this zodiac of being very balanced, of very harmonious, of very kind, and very much for the people. And very much around love as well, because of Venus being the ruling planet of Libra. There's a lot of energy around love and harmony. Abundance as well is very much included into Venus energy, relationships, partnerships. But that's not the only thing. And that's one thing actually that I'm going to push aside in this video. And I'm going to look at another aspect of Libra because I feel that a lot of us are very familiar with the traits of Libra that I just mentioned about being in harmony, about being about relationships, around love. But I'm going to touch on something else that I feel is really important, specifically with the time that we're in right now and with another trait of Libra that's very important. And like I said, we're preparing to go into the underworld, which is moving slowly into our darker time of the year, but also Scorpio season, which is going to happen next after Libra, right? So this is a time where the truth aspect of Libra is going to be very, I feel, crucial to work with right now. Or moving into Libra season, I should say. And especially with this new moon, it's very much about identifying your truth. What is important for you? Who are you? And yes, where can you incorporate balance into your life to balance things out that may feel out of balance, but I feel it could be more within self. I feel this is a very reflective time, especially with all of these planets in retrograde. I feel this is a perfect time to prepare for big change and to be true with yourself of what you want and who you really are and the truth for you that's going to reflect in your outer world. So also seeking the truth within matters with regards to relationships, with regards to your manifestations, with regards to your reality or the collective reality. This is all about seeking the truth. And it is very, I feel, connected with your own individualistic truth and your values and what is important for you. And yes, where can you bring in balance where you're not interrupting your inner lack of balance or lack of harmony with maybe overextending yourself, because that is a shadow side of Libra actually. And I mentioned this in another video. It's the boundaries is a very significant shadow side of Libra, of overextending, of overgiving, of people pleasing, right? So this is something I feel that we can all reflect on. Where am I giving too much where I'm losing myself? And how can I bring that more into balance based on my truth, based on what is important for me, based on what I value for me? And sometimes we need to go back into our own space or within ourself to identify, where am I overextending, or where am I creating imbalances within myself with regards to a situation in the outer world that I'm dealing with. Could be, again, family, could be relationship, could be anything. So it's really important, because in the tarot, now this is something that I really discovered not too long ago, actually, that became very clear for me, or very powerful, is in tarot you have justice, and then the hangman, and then death. And in the zodiac calendar you have justice, you don't have necessarily the hangman, but it does play into the energy between Libra and Scorpio, is the enlightenment, right? And the enlightenment of hangman is surrender. And so when we surrender and we just pause, but we need to align with who we are, justice in tarot also has a very strong energy of the karmic law of cause and effect. And that is part of the Libra energy also. What we put out into the world has consequences. What we say, how we feel, what the actions that we take, the choices that we make, all have some kind of consequence. So the more aware that we are about what we're thinking, about what we're feeling, about what we're putting out into the universe, about our choices, about what we're saying, especially with this Mercury in retrograde right now, has a consequence. And so we have to think ahead rather than doing something, saying something, thinking something, or making a choice around something that is going to have an immediate reaction, or that we might have an immediate knee-jerk reaction to. We have to think of the long term, of what is this actually going to do for me or to me in the long term. So it's about being the cause. So instead of being the effect of the outer world, aka the victim. So we don't want to be the victim. That's the whole point of being a conscious and deliberate creator of your reality, is to be the cause as much as possible. Sometimes, yes, we are going to be the effect. We are going to be dealing with other effects that are completely out of our control. And that's okay. That's fine, because we need them to, again, to make adjustments, to even make some fine tuning within ourselves of, okay, how can I have dealt with that situation maybe differently, so that I don't take such a great hit for it, or I don't get set back for it, or I don't have to deal with extra pains in my life or issues in my life. And this is very much of becoming more and more a deliberate creator of your reality, of working as the cause and not the effect. So you want to be in the driver's seat. You want to be the cause of your reality, the creator of your reality. And again, this goes into your thoughts, how you think about yourself, how you think about the world, how you think about your self-worth, your accomplishments, everything. If there's low self-worth, lack, low confidence, that is all going to play out in some kind of way. It might stop the ability to be a creator. We all go through this, and I've gone through this myself fully, and I've had to work through it. I've had to chip away at regaining my sense of self and regaining my confidence, so that I can really start to create my reality, the reality that I want, not having reality created for me in the way that I don't want, in a way that doesn't fit with who I am and what I truly desire. And so there's a very strong energy. There's a very strong theme to this new moon, and it falls in alignment with exactly what I just said. So try and put yourself in the driver's seat with your thoughts, with your emotions, with your actions, with your intents, because new moons are all about a clean slate. It's a new cycle for manifestation. So you really want to be careful what you set your intentions towards during this new moon, and get really clear with your truth, with what is important for you, what you value the most, what you want to see happen in your outside world, but also what you want to see happen with your inner one. And yes, of course, where you can introduce more balance into your life, where you can introduce more balance, more pleasure, more fun, more love. And even if you have a relationship in your life, maybe where there can be more balance integrated into that relationship as well. So I don't want to completely disregard the other aspects of Libra, but I just wanted to highlight what I just said, because it's a very, very important aspect at this time that I feel a lot of people are overlooking, and it's just maybe my own viewpoint or how I see things. But that's one area that I feel is very important to at least reflect upon. Now, because we're in retrograde season or whatever you want to call it, a lot of planets are in retrograde. Yes, we have a lot of stagnation, but this is again a perfect time for setting a clear slate and returning to home, returning to yourself, to your space within, and just starting to identify and feel what do you want as your outcome moving out of these retrogrades, because we still have 3 months left in 2022. And on my tarot channel, I've been pulling cards for all the zodiacs, and there's a big opportunity left for the end of the year. We're not over. We're not done yet with 2022. We're just almost in some way, in some sense, just getting started. So there's a lot of opportunity here, and especially again with this new moon. So use this time wisely, make it count. Spend some time by yourself and to really become clear and honest. Again, a lot of the times we might feel guilty if we're not overextending, or if we're not taking care of other people, or if we're not fitting into someone else's life. But there's a fine line, and when we do too much of that, we lose ourselves. And we also start to lose our own truth. So do take some time, be honest with it, be clear with who you are, what's important for you, the boundaries, your truth, balance, where again, you can introduce balance, because after this, and if we look at the tarot again, just as a little bit of a sequence, if you will, going into Scorpio season, we have the enlightenment next. We have the ability to see life differently. We have the ability to be more enlightened about our perspective and life in a grander scale. The enlightenment, the awakening, the ascension. And it is a very, very strong time, I feel, and we have the ability to grab hold of that opportunity. Because of course, as I mentioned, we go into Scorpio where we go through transformation, but we have to know what our guiding light is, what our truth is, what is going to guide us forward. Then when we go through transformation, we allow for the old energies to wash away. We allow for deeper exploration, but we still know what is important for us and where we're going. Then the old falls away. And that is part of aligning closer and closer and closer with our authentic self, with our pure, true self, void of all the impositions and all of the influences from our outside world. After the new moon in Libra, then we move into the full moon in Aries. Now, Aries is the first zodiac in the calendar. It is another cardinal sign. So we have Libra with the full moon in Aries. We have a lot of big impact change that can happen in the next few weeks in the Libra season. So be aware of big change that might show up. During the new moon, full moon in Aries, there very well could be big change that's going to happen, because again, we have a lot of planets moving back into direct. And with that full moon in Aries, it is very much something that might need to fade away or break away in order for something to be reborn or something to be initiated. We have double cardinal energy coming in. So again, big energy available coming up. If you want to look at it as in a positive way or as in a little bit of a challenging way, then that's completely open for interpretation. But I always recommend perception is everything. So if you look at it as an opportunity, then that's exactly how you're going to embrace it. So I do suggest and recommend to look at it as a huge opportunity, because again, we're ending the year and we have an ability to really, really finalize this year in a big, hugely transformative way. Now, we're still in a universal month number 6, in a universal year 6 in September. So love was a very strong theme of this month. Now, there could be healing still involved for the rest of September, but then we move into October, which is a 1 month, so new beginnings. September was a 9-month endings, right? So October naturally has the theme of beginnings, but it also has a universal month number 7, which is the most spiritual number in numerology. So we're already going to start to go into the underworld as of October because of the universal month number 7. And when 7 in Scorpio hits, that's when we're going to really go inward. That's when we're really going to dive into our inner truth and go into maybe more spiritual practices, or dive into the underworld a little bit, or welcome in some really deep transformation. During new moons, the rituals, write down on paper what you want. Visualize. I have a visualization meditation. It's the Align meditation on this channel that I do recommend watching or listening to. And I'll leave a link in the description box below as well. The meditation is key. So knowing what you want is huge for manifestation. Knowing where you're going, that is your guiding light. So being clear with your future, writing down what you want under the theme of this particular new moon with regards to making changes and creating within this lunar cycle or beyond, and light a sage. Clear out your old energy of the past, clear out your space, and make space for the new. I also like salt baths, so I run a salt bath. And I just imagine all of the old energy dissipating and washing away. So the salt is very cleansing. When you step out of the bathtub, or even the shower, just imagine yourself putting your first 2 steps into a completely new reality, into the reality that you visualize, right? So it's all projection. It helps with our mind of being very clear again with what we want, energetically and emotionally starting to connect with our future. All right, so I do hope that offers some guidance at this time. I'm wishing you all the best during this new moon. I'm very excited for this season. There's a lot of opportunity here to work with. Until next time, I will be seeing you very soon. Take care.